Welcome to another video from Divine by Design. I've had a lot of inquiries about the Cath Kidston nails that I posted quite recently on my Facebook and on my Twitter, so I promised that I'd do a tutorial on the different designs. So I'm going to start first of all with a nude nail with some roses. What you're going to need for this is a dotting tool, a fine nail brush, and of course two base colours. In this situation I have used Cocoa and Grapefruit Sparkle, and on a plastic back pad here ready, Studio White, Tropics, Lobster Roll, Limeade and Pretty Poison. Now when you pick the colour of your roses, in this situation I'm going for a coral colour, you need to go for 3 colours in total. You need the base colour of the rose, a deeper hue of that colour, and then a highlighter, for example Studio White or Cream Puff. I've chosen Studio White as it's slightly more translucent, so it gives a better and softer effect on the rose. So it's very simple. Once you've done your 2 colour coats and cured in your CND lamp for 2 minutes, take the large end of your dotting tool and pick your mid colour. So this is the main colour for the rose. In this situation I'm going to use Tropics. Now just be conscious of your spacing and apply just a rough blob. Doesn't have to be perfect. If it's too perfect, it won't look realistic. Now I've done larger blobs first, then you're going to do a slightly smaller one next to it. Once you've done that, we're going to add the detail initially of the leaves. Get a smaller dotting tool, pop into your limeade, and you can do this quite roughly. Once you've done that, pop that in your lamp and cure for 2 minutes. Now that the initial stage of the pop is cured, I'm going to take my fine detailing brush and add the detail in. Now you're going to go in initially with the darker shade, so in this situation I'm going for Lobster Roll. And what you want to do is create a swirl like a Swiss roll. Start from the outer edge, and swirl round. Once you've started that, spread it out a little bit. It does look very simple at the moment, but it will all take effect shortly. Now I've gone round all the roses. As you can see, we've just created the swirl effect. We're going to flash cure this in the lamp for 10 seconds. This is just to set it in place before we apply the next layer. Okay, we've flash cured for 10 seconds. Clean your brush out on a pad of isopropyl alcohol, and we're going to apply the white for highlighting now. And what we're going to do is add some extra detail here. Don't go over where you've already applied your darker low light, in this situation the Lobster Roll. Just add a few extra swirls for definition. Now I'm just going to show you what to do if you do apply a little bit too much, which I'm going to do deliberately now, and you lose the definition. Clean your brush on a pad of isopropyl alcohol and drag it back off. You want this to be very translucent, it's just adding some highlights. Now again we're just going to flash cure this now before we do the final stage. So that's 10 seconds in your CND lamp. Now that's at a flash cure. For the final stage we need the Pretty Poison. Again, take your fine detail brush, and this is where we're going to add some detail in to the leaves. So we finished adding the definition to the leaves. We are going to add one tiny element to the rose which adds some depth, and that is one tiny amount of Pretty Poison just in the centre. Hardly anything on your brush at all. Once you've added some Pretty Poison to the centre of all the rose buds, clean your brush off again on a pad with isopropyl alcohol, and we're just going to pull it back off. We hardly want anything on there, just a tiny amount for definition and to give the impression of the centre of the rose. As you can see, the final result there is very subtle. It is just to add a tiny bit of definition. Now you can leave this as it is right now, but what I do like to do is add a little bit more on this one, and for this you're going to need your Azure Wish and a little bit of Midnight Swim. So this final stage, take your dotting tool and on the large end put some As Your Wish and pick an area that you're going to place an additional blossom. Once you've done that, give it a flash cure for 10 seconds. Now this is once we've applied the As Your Wish. This is just to show you two different designs. I'm applying it as like an afterthought just to show you the two different versions, but if you were wanting to apply the As Your Wish, you do it at the same time as the Tropics at the beginning because it requires a 2-minute cure in the lamp. So once you've applied it, cure for 2 minutes. Now that's cured, we're going to take our fine detail brush and just get a small amount of Midnight Swim. Now it's a highly pigmented colour which gives a great effect on the nails, but we don't want too much of it on this. Just try showing you quite a good method for pulling off the excess. You can get your brush, if it's a fine detail, apply it onto the rose and swirl it round. As you can see, that softens the look up. Now we're going to give this a flash cure for 10 seconds. So now we're on the final stage. Just take a little bit of Studio White on your brush again. Just focus this in for you. And exactly as we did with the Tropics roses, just apply a tiny bit of Studio White just to soften it. And the last step, just to give a soft finish, take the small end of your dotting tool, apply it into the Studio White and just smooth some along like a little blossom. Once you've finished that detailing, we're going to pop this in the lamp and cure it for 2 minutes and then it's ready to top coat. So here we have the finished design. This is being top coated. You can see that the effect is really subtle when it's on the nails. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so that's the first of the 4 designs. I'm going to move on to the next one for you now. Okay, so the next design we're going to do is quite an iconic Cath Kidston inspired one. For this we're going to be using 2 coats of As Your Wish as your base. Now you're going to need on your plastic back pad some limeade, some hot pot pink, some cream puff and some Studio White. Now take the large end of your dotting tool and we're going to do the roses slightly different this time because we want to give the appearance of them being side on. We'll start with a small blob at the top and spread it towards the bottom. So as you can see, we've created quite a rough design. This is to give the illusion of petals. Now take the thin end on your dotting tool, pop it into the limeade and we're going to apply the leaves. Take your fine brush and as we're not going to be adding any excess detailing to this one with the leaves, you need to just drag the colour out to points. Okay, once you've applied your hot pot pink and your limeade, this is ready to cure in the lamp for 2 minutes. Once you've cured that for 2 minutes, we're going to take a small amount of cream puff on our fine detail brush. And we're going to do it a bit differently this time. We're going to do it in sweeping motions from side to side. Go around in a curve and come back. And then you can just stroke it across. This is what gives the impression of it being a rose. Now that we've finished that, you can see the trick here is to apply a bit more at the top and then sweep it down until it fades out. And here's the finished design, top coated. It's a gorgeous one, it's very iconic this. So we're going to move on to the next one. This one's a little bit more detailed. You're going to need a striping brush, a dotting tool and a fine detail brush for this one. Okay, now you've had a go at the other two, you should be ready for the slightly more detailed one. For this I've got 2 coats of Studio White on the base. Now the next thing we're going to be needing is some As Your Wish on a plastic back pad or a tile, whichever you prefer, and your striping brush. Now you do need quite a thick striping brush for this. If it's a little bit stiff before you use it, run it through some isopropyl alcohol and that should soften it up. Now what you need to do is draw your brush through the shellac. You need to get a really good coating on this right the way up the bristles. Now the most difficult aspect of this is to make sure that your lines are parallel. So your balance point precision will be crucial in this one, and also the angle of your brush. If you hold your brush upright like this and then try to draw, you'll wiggle because you can't help it. You need to lie your brush as flat as possible towards a 45-degree angle and stroke across the nail. Once you've made contact, just settle it and pull. When you can see that, just pull it through a bit more. Until you get a nice straight line. Now look at your existing line, take yourself back to wherever you want to be and pull it across. Now if you do go slightly out of line at all, because we're doing slightly thicker lines, you can even it up. And lie the brush against the nail and pull. Now I've deliberately gone a bit thicker here on one of the lines just to show you what you can do to correct it. So if you can see this line here, take your brush, wipe it off and then sweep down the nail. And that will correct it for you. Now we're going to take the brush back and go in the other direction. So you need to load up your brush again. So now we're ready to go back in the other direction. Load up your brush. Make sure the coverage is nice and even. And you want to look to make sure that you get it at a 90-degree angle. So check the lines on the nail and then take it to a 90-degree angle. And as you can see, it's a little bit easier doing this with a larger striping brush. This one is the one out of the additives kit. Okay, so clean off your brush and you are ready to get your dotting tool. And already on a pad here I have Hot Pot Pink, Limeade and Cream Puff. Get the small end of your dotting tool, pop it into the Hot Pot Pink and just do little circles. Okay, once you finish that stage you're now ready to pop it into the lamp and cure it for 2 minutes. Now that's been cured for 2 minutes, the final stage is to take your fine detail brush and we're going to add small swirls. And just again, like on the previous design, add a little swirl. When it's this small you might have to do it in 2 steps. One sweep round that way, one sweep round that way. Now that's done, we're ready to cure in the lamp for 2 minutes, top coat and cure for 2 minutes. And here's the final result with 1 layer of top coat. Now as you can see there is a slight showing through of the pattern in the line of light. So if you want, just like you would with Rockstar, because there's quite a lot of detailing on this, you can actually apply a 2nd layer of top coat. But that's that design for you. I'm going to do the final one now. Okay, for the final design I'm going to do the Cath Kidston inspired Spotty fabric. Now for this I've got a base of 2 layers of cake pop. On your dotting tool, take some cream puff. Make sure you don't have too much on, otherwise it will cause it to pucker when you cure in the lamp. And just apply your dotting tool. Once you've gone down the centre of the nail, you want to find an even gap to the side and go in between the other dots. Once you've done that down one side of the nail, continue that on the other as well. Once you've done the whole nail, you're ready to cure it in the lamp for 2 minutes. And then we'll be able to top coat. So here is the final design after it's been top coated and cured. Again, if you want to apply an extra top coat on this, you can do. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the 4 designs we've done. So here is the final view of all 4 designs we've done in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember, if you want to find me, you can find me on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/DivineByDesign CND Nails. On Twitter, I'm DivineByDesign1. On Pinterest, it's xdbdx. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this has helped you.